Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we are going to talk about the Drake album and just kind of my thoughts on it after a little bit of time. It's being recorded on Wednesday, the 22nd. And, there's been so much circulating about this album that I really want to put in my 2 cents as someone who's trying my best to enjoy it. But, you see all the stuff on social media, and it's kind of hard to keep an unbiased opinion. So, first off, I'm going to tell you about my first listen to it, kind of how I felt. And I think I listened to it, at midnight, or it's 11 here when the album first came out. And honestly, it didn't really hit for me the first time I heard it. It was kind of I remember, trying not to overreact because, immediately everyone on Twitter is like, "Oh, it's mid. This is the worst thing I've ever heard." And I mean, that's not that's not any profound take from me talking about that either, but I think people were overreacting a little bit. It didn't hit me. I remember I texted my group chat. I was like, there's a couple songs that were terrible, a couple I liked, but I fear that it's mid, which was, I'm kind of joking because I feel like mid is such an umbrella term that's used for anything that you just don't get yet. Some things are actually mid, but, that's besides the point. But the more I've listened to it, the more it's been stuck in my head. Like, for example, Falling Back was something I hated the first time. I remember driving and hearing just his falsetto vocals, and I was like, oh, this is just terrible. This is what the album's going to be. And then I got past that and kind of, forgot about it. I was like, oh, that's trash. I'm not going to come back to it. And then now that little melody is stuck in my head all the time. And now I'm replaying it a lot. So I don't know what he did because a lot of them on paper, I guess on paper is not a good way to judge music. But on paper, it's like, this should not be a great song, but something he puts in it is just a little bit catchy and just a little bit of an earworm, like that Falling Back stuff. Obviously, Massive is just a good house song. I think it's very good. It's going to be played everywhere. But the album as a whole, I don't know. It's a weird one for me, but I feel like it's pretty cohesive as far as the Drake project goes, because usually they're more of a playlist as opposed to an album. And I like that he went in a different direction with that because I feel like it's just something different for him. Obviously, he's not really experimenting that much. It's dance music. It's going to get played a lot. He's not like making some experimental project that's, not going to go very big. But I like seeing something new from him. And I just like this different side of him. I'm really an R&B Drake fan at my core. I enjoyed parts of Certified Lover Boy, stuff like Pipe Down, Race My Mind, Get Along Better, all really good songs in my opinion. So I was hoping for that. But this, honestly, was a pleasant surprise. I think it was concise. And if you haven't seen the Hive Mind review of it, that really was very good as well. I want to shout them out. That kind of made me think about it to a different level. And a lot of the songs that I thought, again, were bad first listen were pretty good. Like Currents, like the bed squeak thing. I was like, oh, this is corny. But now I'm like, it kind of hits. Like, that's not going to be my favorite song of the year. That's not going to be something I'm talking about is like a great song. Like, I'm seeing people compare this album to the Kendrick album, and they're very different, so it's not very comparable, but I don't think it's very close. As catchy and fun as this album is, it's not the Kendrick album, and which had its ups and downs as well. But I think it's getting too much hate, and obviously that's not a profound take that Twitter's going to call everything mid within the first few moments, but I think it really comes down to people. It's a lot, the accounts, they're going to go viral, and they're going to get all these likes and all this attention from saying it's mid or saying it's bad. I don't think they're doing it in bad faith because when you think about it, it's a lot of creators who, it's their job, or, I don't know if, making money, whatever. It's their job to get out content. So a new Drake album drops, they can't just sit and listen to it for a week and then talk about it in a week, at least not most of them, because, they got to keep their engagement up. They got to, they know it's going to get all these clicks and all this attention, which is something that they got to go after because that's their career, or at least, something they enjoy and want to capitalize on. So that's kind of where it gets weird because they're trying to get all this engagement. And I feel like I'm making it sound like they're doing this maliciously. They're not. But I think a lot of creators are going to listen to it. They're going to put their first thoughts out there, which are, not going to be a good representation of what the album will be to them or anyone in a week or a month or a year. I'm editing this and I'm realizing I completely forgot to make the point of these people having these opinions that aren't completely formulated is swaying public opinion. So these creators who aren't doing this maliciously but are swaying the public opinion into everyone thinking it's mid or it's bad or it's just, completely trash is swaying a lot of these people that are just going to go through and read take after take of people calling it mid and saying, wow, Drake really released the worst album of the year. He should have honestly never minded the release. And I think that really sways public opinion into not giving an album a chance that they should have. So yeah, I completely forgot to make that point. I'm sorry, and video's going to continue now. It's kind of like a rough draft. Like, you don't want your rough draft out there, especially, in a certain amount of time where it's going to look really bad once you've made all these revisions. At the time, it seems good, but as time passes, it's going to get more and more out of date. And I think a lot of these takes kind of end up doing that. So that's why I haven't really, I've kind of talked to my friends a little bit about it, and it's grown on me. So I think it's a good album. And I think that Drake just kind of, did something different. It's enjoyable to listen to. I'm not really going out to raves like that, but I think it's still fun to listen to. I'm going to play Minecraft and listen to it. I'm going to play Rocket League and listen to it. Stuff like that. I'm just going to chill and, feel pretty. It's just very good, positive summer music that I think is something that everybody needs to some extent at some point. Like, this is just a good soundtrack for my life right now, if that makes sense. Like, am I going to come back to this album in December and really bump it? I don't think so, but that could definitely be the case, and we'll see. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm not going to give it a grade because I think that's where, again, reviews get more into trying to find a grade, trying to get a finite score to put on an album, and then it doesn't really reflect it as well as it could. So I'm just going to say I enjoyed it and pretty much leave it at that. Let me know what you think of it, because definitely a lot of fun to listen to, I think. Also, I do want to say, this is just a random thought I'm getting. The massive, when the keys come in, I know that's just house chords or kind of like a club banger kind of chords, but it sounds like you're playing Forza Horizon, you're driving through and that comes on. Like, that's the vibe it gave me, and I really wanted to share that. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by, and let me know what you think of this album. I thought it was quite enjoyable again, and I'll see you guys later.